any number of stories that we could have led today. We have Diddy declaring, filing for a mistrial. We have President Trump versus California, it feels like, and the
wanting
protests.
to potentially arrest the governor of California who thinks that the president is calling for a civil war.
And as all that was going on, then we found out that Blake Lively is the big winner in this legal battle that has gone on now for 6 months between herself and Justin Baldoni. Justin Baldoni got a gut punch from the judge today, who dismissed all of his lawsuits against Blake, against the New York Times, against Ryan Reynolds.
Hollywood is in shock as two megastars are crumbling under public pressure. Diddy's empire is falling apart as his trial enters its most dramatic phase, and Justin Bieber is sending out cryptic messages that have fans worried for his mental health. What's going on behind the scenes with these two iconic stars? Let's dive deep into the chaos surrounding Diddy and Bieber's lives.
A clean sweep for Blake Lively that nobody saw coming. We thought both of these cases are going to keep going. They're going to end up in court because no one was backing down. There was no talk of settlements. And now, just like that,
so it ends with
he's the
this.
loser. Yes.
It ends with us, ends with this.
Well, at least for Justin Baldoni, it does. Blake, on the other hand, is, you would say at this point, the winner because her lawsuit against him still going forward at this point.
Is that a different judge?
Let's start with Diddy. The music mogul's trial is intensifying as his defense team pushes for a mistrial. They claim that prosecutors knowingly put a lying witness on the stand, Diddy's ex, Cassie. Her testimony about a traumatic event is being challenged after it was revealed that she didn't actually witness the incident, but heard about it. Could this technicality be enough to set Diddy free, or will the truth eventually catch up with him?
I don't know. I don't know.
Same judge, same courtroom in the Southern District of New York, the same place actually that Diddy's being tried, just as it were. But what the judge ruled here is that the defamation lawsuits that Justin Baldoni had brought against Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and the New York Times, and the fact they had all allegedly conspired together to defame Justin Baldoni and his company Wayfair, all tossed out. And importantly, maybe it's a little legally in the weeds, but importantly, did so with prejudice, which means that Justin Baldoni cannot refile these claims. They are dead forever. Baldoni has a right to appeal it to a higher court.
Diddy's team is adamant that this case should be thrown out, claiming that Cassie's testimony is flawed. But could this be a way to preserve his appeal options, or is there enough here to truly call for a mistrial? Legal experts are divided, and with so many twists, the future of Diddy's case remains uncertain.
But the judge has said this case is over and done with forever. Baldoni still has some rights on some lesser claims, that tortious interference with contract, but let's know what we're talking about. He had filed $650 million worth of lawsuits against the Times and Lively and Reynolds. All of that is gone and not to come back.
That is stunning. And so the part about the defamation that it was, and this is what Blake Lively and her team has said all along. She made claims in a civil rights action against him about the sexual harassment.
But the spotlight isn't just on Diddy. Fans are increasingly concerned about Justin Bieber. Over the weekend, Justin posted selfies with a caption that read, "Tired of transactional relationships." What did he mean by that? Many fans immediately thought it was a message about his relationship with Hailey Baldwin, but could there be more to this than meets the eye?
And really, the New York Times article was just about that filing, right? So basically, the court said she has the right to say those things. It's in a legal
And defamation is a very,
filed.
very high standard for a news organization.
Alex, that's exactly right. It's an incredibly high standard. The First Amendment is a very powerful thing. And in order, defamation begins where the First Amendment protections end. So what happened here is that Blake Lively had filed this complaint. Complaints are, you can say whatever you want without exception and not be sued for defamation in a complaint. So she files this complaint.
Hailey Baldwin added fuel to the fire when she posted an Instagram story about lemon martinis and therapy, but then edited the post to remove the therapy part. What does this cryptic edit mean? Was she trying to distance herself from the situation, or was she just trying to keep things light? Fans are more confused than ever about the state of their relationship.
Baldoni says, well, she then conspired with Ryan Reynolds and the New York Times to file this allegedly false article in the Times. The judge said, well, let's start with the false article in the Times. We don't believe it's necessarily false. It's based upon what Lively said in her complaint. You can't sue a publication for simply repeating claims that are made in that complaint, as the Times did with Lively's lawsuit.
So basically, Jason, the judge said the fact that there were text messages that Justin Baldoni had filed in his lawsuit, there were text messages between Blake and the publicist in the New York Times.
But it's not just his marriage causing drama. Bieber's relationship with his former manager, Scooter Braun, has been rocky for a while. Bieber unfollowed Braun earlier this year, signaling a major rift. Could the fallout from this personal and professional split be the root of Bieber's emotional distress? The documentary What Happened to Justin Bieber revealed some dark truths about their relationship, and it looks like those wounds are still fresh.
That didn't matter because the article that came out was only based on what's in her action.
Yeah, now the judge did point out, Justin did, and then the judge pointed out that the New York Times was accused of picking and choosing certain text messages and certain emails and saying to the exclusion of others. And he said, therefore, the Times article wrongly portrayed the relationship between them. The judge said not so much. What I'm seeing in the Times publication really does track very closely to Blake Lively's original lawsuit. Therefore, it cannot be the grounds for defamation.
So we joked about this concept that it ends with this, but
both Diddy and Bieber are facing overwhelming crises. But what's even more interesting is the way their downfalls seem to be happening in parallel. Is the media feeding off their struggles? Both are megastars, and now both are facing public battles that could change their legacies forever.
you mentioned the concept of an appeal. Are there grounds for appeal for Justin, and are there indications
And how
from him and his
expensive is
team
that going to get
that
for him?
they want to go forward with an appeal?
Yeah, there are always grounds for an appeal, whether or not you win or not. It can be very hard to overturn. You know, most cases do not get overturned on appeal. It's very unlikely, but there are grounds for appeal. But to Charles' point about expense, so the judge left open the possibility that Justin may be responsible for the legal costs, the legal fees.
Are their stories connected, or are these just two Hollywood icons falling from grace at the same time? So, what does the future hold for Diddy and Bieber? For Diddy, the trial is far from over, and he may have a long road ahead in the courtroom. As for Bieber, his fans are on edge, hoping he doesn't spiral further into darkness. But no matter what happens, one thing is clear. These stars are facing battles that even fame can't shield them from.
For the three defendants, the Times, Lively, and Reynolds, they will definitely be in the multi-millions of dollars. If you then appeal it and you lose that can get tacked on. Those legal fees, which will again be in millions more, will be tacked on to what he could conceivably owe. So Justin Baldoni has got to tread really lightly here. We don't really know who is funding his lawsuit. It's possibly a third party is, and that third party may in fact be very deep-pocketed and not worry about things like that. So we could see it appealed, but Baldoni's licking his wounds right now. They have to really figure out how to go forward.
What do we think about the court of public opinion? Because Justin Baldoni wants to work again. Blake Lively wants to.
On the other hand, Justin Bieber is caught in a whirlwind of public scrutiny, and his fans are growing increasingly concerned about his mental and emotional health. After years of facing public ups and downs, this latest phase in his life seems to be a critical point. Will he be able to weather this storm? Or is he on the verge of losing the battle against his inner demons? His fans, who have been incredibly supportive in the past, are now hoping for a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel.
Work again, and
the court of public opinion, it seemed to
seemed like it was going towards Justin, right? Like Justin was winning everything, so this kind of seems to kind of come out of nowhere.
It just goes to show that the public may think one thing, but in the court of law, it could be a completely different thing. And Justin Baldoni may end up paying a steep price for that.
Yeah.